There is something so crazy about the phenomenon of we as people like trying to force ourselves to be, as productive as possible, like trying to do everything under the sun without even asking ourselves like, do you feel good? Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to suffer like your whole life just to be successful. If you actually focus on making sure that the work that you're doing actually feels good, that's the true way to be successful. And that is just the first lesson that I learned from this book. Here's a couple more. In the book, Allie talks about a clinical psychologist named Stuart Brown who basically conducted experiments on people and found that most people have one of 8 like character personalities they typically want to embody in their daily life. There are 8 of them, so I don't know that we have time to really go into all of them here, but I think the point of this whole thing is that you have to figure out what character, what persona you want to embody in your daily life and allow that to kind of take over and provide you with more adventure in your life overall. So growing up, I was always a fan of superheroes, right? Like if you hold your hand out and like something happens, like sign me up. And there's something so powerful about being able to channel the person that you truly want to be through your favorite characters. I will never forget the night that I watched Catwoman for the first time, like the Halle Berry Catwoman, where she had like the slits and like the cuts or whatever in her like her skin tight suit. When I tell you I walked out of that theater, I was so in it. I was on the runway. I was strutting down the hallways of that movie theater. And I feel like that was the first time my parents were like, something's different about this one. My first love in the superhero stratosphere was the X-Men. And not just like the team, the X-Men, but it was one person in particular. And that person is Storm, an African weather witch in a skin-tight black and gold costume who could fly, create tornadoes, and shoot lightning out of her hands. Like, I vividly remember being a kid and like pretending that I was Storm. Like whether it was like at recess or it was, standing up to like bullies or like the stray dudes who like had it with me. And I was just, I didn't care. I had the confidence of an African weather witch. Like, are you kidding? I think there's a reason why so many pop stars have mentioned that they have like a type of alter ego that they, bring out on stage that is different than themselves, but it allows them to unlock this part of themselves that is just so like, statuesque and like dominant and like really takes control. Like, I don't mean necessarily like pretend like you're the Scarlet Witch like at work tomorrow or whatever, because like that could be too much. But I mean, if it works for you, like, you do you, I ain't mad at you. What I do mean though is you have to figure out what type of persona, what type of personality that you truly want to embody and put your all into figuring out how you can manifest that in your daily life. Say you are just like a naturally shy person and you have a presentation coming up for your bosses where you have to, present all of your ideas and you want to be the most confident, out there version of yourself in that moment. It might do you some good to pretend like you're Darth Vader giving that speech. Like, do you think that Darth Vader would give that speech and be like nervous, shy, and timid and not know what to say? Like, are you kidding? Darth Vader would get up there and say what needs to be said and would not care one bit about what someone else thought about what he was saying. There's a point that has to come across. So like, and this honestly just scratches the surface of what you can do with this whole experiment, but I'm telling you, like, it works. And if it doesn't work for you, pick a new character. Stop taking life so seriously. It is not that deep. Think of the last board game or card game or whatever you played with somebody, right? Nobody wants to play with the person that is like taking it super serious. I'm sure we've all been there where we played a game with somebody and they are just taking it so serious. Like they are so competitive and their whole focus is like making sure they win. And if they lose, their reality shattered. The world over. Like it's too much. But at the same time, like you don't want to play a game with somebody who is also super like relaxed and does not care about the rules at all, because then it's also not fun. I think you and I can agree that the people that we love playing games with are those that are somewhere in the middle, like people that are genuinely sincere. They care about the rules enough to play the game, but they are not so serious that it doesn't make it fun anymore. There are so many tasks that come up that just feel so above us, so overwhelming, so stressful. And what I think would be great for you to do is to ask yourself, like, am I taking this too seriously? Is it not that deep? How can I make this less serious and just more sincere? Like, say you had a job interview, for example, and you were super nervous and like, anxious about it because You know, maybe you need a job because your family is gonna go hungry tomorrow, or you need to replenish your savings because you spent all of your dollars on stupid stuff on Instagram. You're going to naturally approach that job interview with just so much like anxiousness, stress, and you're gonna put the whole thing on a pedestal, which is gonna just make it so much worse for you than if you just allowed it to be what it is, which is just an experience where someone needs help with something. All they are looking for is someone who can help them with their problem, and your job is just to go in there and explain to them why you are the person that can help them fix their problem. And when you look at it like that, you no longer put this experience on like this super high pedestal and you're trying your best to make sure you like claw at it. You aren't on different levels. This person that's giving you the interview is not above you. Like, you are on the same level. You can ask them questions as well. You're just here to see if you were the right person to help them fix their problem. No more, no less. And when you go at it with that mentality, you're gonna have so much of an easier time, and you're gonna leave that room like, ugh, wow, I killed it. They loved me. And you're gonna feel so much better about the experience versus going in just all doing too much. If there is anything that I believe, like truly in the depths of my soul, is that seriousness is so overrated. I hate that as we grow up and as we become more like of adults, we all think that life just has to be this boring, stoic, like black and white. Like, we all have to be statues. I refuse to sign up for that way of thinking. Like, my life is gonna be fun regardless. Like, I don't care what you're doing. I promise you there is a way to make it more fun. Even if you were doing the most boring, the most mundane job, there is a way to make it more fun for yourself. You just gotta find it. You are so powerful. The most powerful. I know sometimes when we think of the word power, it can be a little like scary or like, ooh, like, I don't know if I have what it takes. But what I'm here to tell you is that you have so much more control over your life and over your future than you think you do. The first step to really tapping into like your power, like your essence, like your true inner strength, is believing that you can do what you want to do. Self-confidence, when you really think about it and break it down to its bare bones, is so much more simple than you think it is. Simply being the like your own, hype man can get you so far in life. One of the ways that Ali in the book talks about tapping into your confidence is by flipping a switch. He calls it flipping the confidence switch. Fake it till you make it, basically. When you are faced with a task or like a new risk that you have to take, or like, a new leap that you have to jump, ask yourself, what would it look like if I was so confident in this task that like it wasn't even a question whether or not I could do it? What if this was something that I knew that without a doubt I could accomplish? When you ask yourself these questions and you really put yourself in that mindset, there is no limit to what you can do. Like, for example, I am like on the side, I'm a videographer and a photographer. I don't know what it is, but when it's time to walk up to a person and be like, hey, can I get a photo? Or like, can I get videos of you like waving to the camera or like smiling or whatever? I am just this big old bowl of sweat. I get so nervous. It's really just about, I don't want to like sour someone's good time. I don't want to be the person that like ruined, their experience. And I know that it is an inconvenience to walk up to someone who's like chatting with someone or like with their family or whatever and be like, hey, do you mind posing, or do you mind, saying something like a testimonial for the camera or whatever. But at the same time, I am being hired to do a specific task. So, what are you gonna do? So the last time that I had to do this, I kid you not, before I like went out to like the crowd, I literally stood in the bathroom for like 15 minutes and I was just like, whew, okay, what if you had done thousands of weddings? What would the Cedric who had done thousands of weddings say to these people? He would go up and be like, hey, I'm with the media team and I just need to get some videos and photos of you. Do you mind helping me out with that? Once you put yourself in that mindset, it becomes so much easier. But it's like, before you do it, it's so easy to psych yourself out. It literally was just as simple as putting myself in the right mindset and then just doing it. Like, just going for it and pretending like I was already successful at what I was doing, and I was able to be successful at what I was doing. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you, like, I got what I needed. I got my shots. I'm gonna need you to stop regretting where you are in life. Like, you might not be exactly where you want to be. You might not even be where you wished you were 10 years ago. But this is the life that you chose. It took you years and years to get to the place that you are now. You had to sift through the wrong people, the wrong jobs, the wrong opportunities, and you are finally at a place where you can actually have the mental space to be conscious about the fact that you want to change your life, that you have a future that you envision, and you can actually do something about it. And now you're complaining? You better calm down. If you were to jump back to when you were a child, you would be so happy with where you are now. Again, you might not be exactly where you want it to be, but you are still so much better of a person because of everything you've experienced. The way you choose to think and speak about your life, all of that is up to you. If you decided to be like, ugh, I have to do this, like I must do that, you know, that's your choice. When you have to do something or you must do something, like you're weak, you're powerless, you have no power over yourself. But when you choose to do something, you now have the opportunity to choose to do something else. Everything you've ever done and everything you're doing now has been a choice. If your boss comes up to you and says like, hey, I need you to do this, or you have to do this, you can say no. I mean, you might get fired, but like, that's your choice. All I'm trying to say here is that if you don't like your job, choose something else. If you don't like your boyfriend or girlfriend, choose something else. Life is up to you. Do what it do. Do what you want to do. Sometimes when I know there's something that I either am supposed to be doing or that I really want to do, the only reason why I can't bring myself to actually do it is because it feels like there is this huge obstacle in the way. Like I'm riding a bike and I first have to ride up this super steep, super grassy, muddy hill before I can actually start doing what I want to be doing. And as a result, I'm just like, no. So something from the book that I have tried to kind of help me get past this is to start removing physical obstacles and emotional obstacles that will then allow me to get to what I'm trying to do a little easier. Say you really want to get into the gym, but it just feels like such a hassle to have to, first of all, wake up at an early time before work or something. Then you have to find your outfit because you can't go in the gym looking a mess. Then you have to find your keys because who knows where those are. Then you have to drive to the gym and then you have to park and then walk in that place. To make it easier on yourself, you can pick your outfit the night before. You can make sure your keys are in a visible, place that you know exactly where they are. I was gonna say make sure your car is warmed up before you get out there, but like if you ain't got a Tesla or something, then I mean, sorry, girl. I don't have a Tesla either. I'm working on it. It's part of my goals for this year. But there are just certain things you can do to remove the obstacles in your way so that you can achieve what you want to do a little easier. That's how I get past like the more physical obstacles. But when it comes to the emotional obstacles, that takes a whole different strategy altogether. For example, I know that I have to get videos edited because I love having videos on my channel. I love, staying consistent with this. But the thing about editing is that I spend so much time with myself already. I spend 24/7 with me. It's exhausting. So the last thing that I really want to do is then sit at a computer for, 6 hours or whatever and edit a video where I'm just staring at myself constantly. It just feels like the biggest hill that I have to climb with this bike. But I have found, thanks to this book, that if I just tell myself that I'm just gonna sit here for 5 minutes, that's all I'm gonna do for 5 minutes, get a couple of little quick things done, and then I'm gonna move on. For some reason, it just makes it feel a little more tangible, and then I actually end up sitting down and getting started. Even if you say, I'm just gonna sit down for 5 minutes and get this done, typically, you're gonna spend more than 5 minutes sitting there and you'll blink and it'll be, 3-4 hours. So it kind of just lowers the barrier of entry for you to just get you to start the thing. Because once you start it, then you're golden. Don't be afraid to take a break every once in a while, especially when you're doing something that is like really intensive or just takes a lot out of you. Like, take a break. You need it. Life is hard, but proceed with caution because this is dangerous. So on one hand, like if you have a 9 to 5 and your breaks are pretty, they're pretty set in stone. When you're taking your 10, your 15, whatever, like you're good. But if you work from home or like you work for yourself, if you, are too lenient with yourself and you take too many breaks without any type of like constraints or parameters, I promise you'll be like, oh, I'll take my 15 and then you'll be done for the day. The trick here is just to make sure that you are getting up at least every couple of hours to kind of stretch yourself out, maybe do something that gets your mind off of whatever you're doing, but also place constraints on that break so it doesn't end up being like a 3-hour break. All in all, what I want you to leave this video with is this. Life is not supposed to be stressful. It is not supposed to be as hard as we often make it. Like, we get what? 80, 90, maybe 100 years on this earth if we're lucky. If this whole thing is supposed to be about stress, then we've been set up. I smell a stunt, a conspiracy. Life is supposed to be about enjoying the process. It's supposed to be about trying different things and learning what feels good to you and learning what things you actually enjoy doing. It's about failure, honestly, about failing over and over again, learning from your mistakes each time and then applying that to your future. And the times that you actually are successful, it's about giving yourself the praise that you deserve. And I'll be honest with you, like I'm still trying to adopt this mindset myself, but as the book says, like once you get this mindset down and you get it locked in your brain, like everything changes. Don't get me wrong, I love a good self-help book where the author just kind of, you know, speaks from their heart and gives really good advice. But what I love about this one in particular is that not only is he giving some really good nuggets, but the nuggets are always backed by scientific research and experiments on people and stuff. So if you're looking for some real good nuggets, like if you want a good 20 piece with some sweet and sour sauce, this is the book for you. I'll leave a link for it down below for you. But yeah, besides that, if you want to see more of me, I mean, enjoy this. It's all yours. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.